Central banks purchase gold for a number of reasons: to mitigate risk, to hedge against inflation, and to promote economic stability. To date, global central banks own about one-fifth of all the gold ever mined, with reserves topping a whopping number of 35,500 metric tons of gold. In today's video, we are counting down the top 10 central bank reserves holding the most gold. But before we get into it, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get it. Number 10 is the Netherlands, the Dutch National Bank, which holds 612 metric tons of gold. The Dutch central bank stores as much as 38% of its gold in Canada's National Reserve. Another 31%, in the form of 15,000 gold bars, is held in a domestic vault, while the remaining 31% is located in New York's Federal Reserve Bank. Together, that makes up 612 metric tons of gold. Number 9 is the Reserve Bank of India, which holds 760 metric tons of gold. The Reserve Bank of India is another central bank that has added to its holdings in recent years. It began adding to its gold assets in 2017. However, the majority of its purchases have taken place in the past 2 years. While 453.52 tons of gold is held overseas in safe custody with the Bank of England and the Bank of International Settlements, 295.82 metric tons of their gold is held domestically. India's total amount of gold held is 760.4 metric tons. And number 8 is the Bank of Japan, which holds 845.97 metric tons of gold. Unfortunately, public information about the Bank of Japan's gold reserves is hard to come by. In 2000, the island nation was holding approximately 753 metric tons of gold. By 2004, the Bank of Japan's gold store had grown to 765 metric tons and remained at that level until March of 2021, when the country purchased just over 80 metric tons of gold, which totals to the Bank of Japan holding 845.97 metric tons of gold. Number 7, the Swiss National Bank, Switzerland, which holds 1,040 metric tons of gold. The full 1,040 metric tons of gold is owned by the state of Switzerland, but the central bank manages and maintains the reserve. After years of opaqueness regarding the country's golden treasure trove, the Swiss Gold Initiative, or Save Our Swiss Gold campaign, was funded in 2011. The publicity culminated in a national referendum in 2014, asking citizens to vote on 3 proposals. The first was a mandate for all reserve gold to be held physically in Switzerland. The other 2 dealt with the central bank's ability to sell its gold reserves, along with a decree that 20% of the Swiss bank's assets to be held in gold. The referendum was unsuccessful, but did prompt the bank to be more transparent. In a 2013 release, the central bank reported that 70% of its gold reserve was held domestically. 20% was located at the Bank of England, and 10% was stored with the Bank of Canada. Number 6, the Central Bank for mainland China, which holds 1,948 metric tons of gold. The Central Bank for mainland China is the People's Bank of China, located in Beijing. The National Financial Institute stores 1,948.31 metric tons of gold. In 2001, the Public Bank of China had 400 metric tons of gold in reserve, but in less than 2 decades, that total has climbed 487%. The Public Bank of China issues the Panda Gold coin, which was first created in 1982. The Panda coin is now one of the top 5 bullion coins issued by the central bank. It is among the ranks of the American Eagle, Canadian Maple Leaf, South African Krugerrand, and Australia's Gold Nugget. Number 5 is the Bank of Russia. Russia, holding 2,301.64 metric tons of gold. The Bank of Russia is the official central bank of the Russian Federation. Russia's central bank has opted to store all of its physical gold domestically. The Bank of Russia stores 2/3 of its gold reserves in a bank building in Moscow, and the remaining 1/3 is in St. Petersburg. The majority of the yellow metal is in the form of large variable weight standard gold bars, weighing between 10 and 14 kilograms. There is also smaller bars on site weighing as much as 1 kilogram each. Russia, which is also the third largest gold producer by country, has been a steady purchaser of the precious metal since roughly 2007, with sales ramping up significantly between 2015 and early 2020. However, Russia's refineries were banned from selling gold bullion into the London market following the country's invasion of Ukraine. On top of that, sanctions by the West also include a freeze on about half of Russia's gold reserves. Number 4 is the Bank of France, which holds 2,436.5 metric tons of gold. The Bank of France keeps all of its gold reserves on hand. The precious metal is stored in the bank's secure underground vault and is located 27 meters below street level. The Bank of France's gold vaults are one of the 4 designed gold depositories of the International Monetary Fund. According to Investopedia, the collapse of the Bretton Woods gold standard system was in part due to former President of France Charles de Gaulle, who called the US bluff and began actually trading dollars in for gold at the time. US President Richard Nixon was forced to take the US off the gold standard, ending the dollar's automatic convertibility into gold. Number 3 is the National Bank of Italy, which holds 2,451.84 metric tons of gold. The National Bank of Italy began amassing its gold in 1893, when 3 separate financial institutions merged into one. From there, its 78 metric ton slowly grew into the 2,451 metric tons the country holds today. Italy also stores parts of its gold reserve offshore. In total, 141.2 metric tons are located in the UK, 149.3 are in Switzerland, and 1,061 are kept in the US Federal Reserve, while Italy's houses holds about 1,100 metric tons of gold domestically, which totals to a whopping number of 2,451.84 metric tons of gold. Number 2 is the Central Bank of Germany. Germany currently holds 3,358.5 metric tons of gold. The German National Bank stores over half of its stock in foreign locations, in New York, London, and France. The Deutsche Bundesbank's foreign gold reserves came into question in 2012, when the German Federal Court of Auditors was openly critical of the Bundesbank's gold auditing. In response, the German bank issued a public statement defending the security of foreign banks. Privately, the Bundesbank then began the process of bringing its gold stock back to German soil. By 2016, more than 583 metric tons have been transferred to the Bank of Germany. Nearly half of Germany's gold holdings are stored in Frankfurt, while a third is in New York. An eighth of its holdings are in London, while a small amount is held in Paris. All this adds up to Germany holding 3,358.5 metric tons of gold. And the number one spot goes to the American Central Bank, the United States. When it comes to the largest gold reserves, the American Central Bank is number one, holding 8,133.5 metric tons of gold, which is valued at $528 billion and is more than double the amount of gold held by the number two spot, which was the Central Bank of Germany. A large percentage of US gold is held in deep storage in Denver, Fort Knox, and West Point. As the US Treasury explains, deep storage is that portion of US government-owned gold bullion reserve which the US Mint secures in sealed vaults and are examined annually by the Treasury Department's Office of the Inspector General, and consist primarily of gold bars. The rest of US owned reserves are held as working stock, which the country's mint uses as raw material to mint congressionally authorized coins. Anyhow, that wraps up the countdown for central bank reserves holding the most gold. If you enjoyed this video and want to watch more videos like it, make sure you check out all my other videos. As mentioned in all my videos, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe. Till next time, catch you in the next one.